What is wrong with that thing? It's got a flat top.
It's a snake.
Hey, I'm Jono.
And I'm Kendall.
And we're Gearheads here at Competitive Cyclist.
Today, it's all about SRAM transmission.
The SRAM mission. They didn't call it that, but that's what I call it. Cool, so we got it unboxed, got our first eyes on it. Can I run this on my mountain bike?
Short answer is yes, but you need to have a UDH compatible frame.
Okay.
If you want to upgrade your bike with this all-new Groupset, yeah.
Yep, and that is because there is no derailleur hanger required.
Exactly, it's direct mount. Yeah, it looks pretty wild on a bike. Basically, this sits right on your cassette, which is what they say provides the whole system with such crisp shifting. Without the variable of the derailleur hanger, you have that constant, just tighter interface that allows for, kind of more responsive shift feeling, right?
Yep. And with that, there's no limits, no adjustment there. All the adjustment is going to be done through their app or the website. You're going to put in your measurements of the chainstay length on your bike, and then they're going to shoot out some numbers for you to go off of, and you're going to cut your chain to the right length, and that is really the only adjustment that you do.
So, Jono, what is the red on the cassette for?
So that is the 7th cog, and that's going to be for the fast setup. You're going to put the chain on that cog, and that's how you're going to set up the derailleur.
Oh, that makes things nice. You don't have to count your gears.
Yeah, exactly. You know where to put it, and you get it set up in just a few minutes. Let's dive a little deeper into the rear derailleurs. So, like you mentioned, UDH is going to be required because you pull the hanger out, and there is no hanger. This will clamp between your frame.
Right.
And then you will run this guy through here, and your rear axle will actually be the thing that holds it in place, which is pretty unique.
Yeah, it mounts directly to the axle, which I think is a pretty cool design. It just it's going to give a really solid feel. There's not going to be much torsional flex going on as you're riding.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see how it performs.
Yeah, and then moving on, they have larger pulley wheels. So this is the Magic wheel. It's going to make it be a little bit more efficient as far as drivetrain loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but this wheel is noticeably larger, I think, than the previous version.
Yeah, it seems like they might have taken a few notes from Ceramic Speed on their oversized pulleys and said, hey, we can do that too. And just
totally
did it.
And then the last thing, I think this is going to be a big talking point with it being, a hangerless direct mount interface. The question is, what happens when I eventually, hit my derailleur on a thing?
Yeah.
The widest part is this skid plate right here. And this is a replaceable part, which is really cool. As you bang this thing up, you can pull it off. It looks like just one Allen key screw to pull this skid plate off and replace it. So that's kind of like the fix for the cheap replacement of a derailleur hanger. Now it's just the skid plate instead, but you get much better shifting.
Yeah, and more pieces are actually replaceable too. So the pulley cage that actually just removes, and you can replace this whole guy. So if you smash that into your spoke, this can be replaced. So you're not going to have to buy a full new derailleur. You can buy the parts in case.
Yeah, and that cage is so much easier to get off compared to the previous systems.
Oh, yeah. You can't do this. I broke it.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. It's made to do this, so that's pretty cool. So a feature that we've come to love with Eagle derailleurs, actually since 11 speed, is the clutch lock. So when you take your chain off or take your back wheel off, it's just so easy to maintain your bike.
Super nice feature. Super nice for popping the rear wheel off without having to wrestle with the the tension from the clutch arm.
Getting your hands covered in grease.
Yeah.
It's the worst. That brings us to the little pod shifter. As you can tell, totally different design than before.
It is so much smaller.
Oh yeah, and I believe you can flip it. So you can, if you're left-handed or right-handed, and if you're not running a dropper, you can have it on the left side.
Oh yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how it has some notches here so that you can make sure you have it set the same way if you need to take it on and off. For me, something that I noticed about it right away was the size. The old Axis controller, I had to run it all the way to the inside on my handlebar because otherwise it would dig into my thumb because I just have big hands. Mm-hmm. But this will definitely not be a worry. I mean, it is much narrower and the buttons are 2 separate buttons. It's not just one big paddle. Now you have 2 separate definitive buttons. So I think this would be, for someone where it's their first experience with electronic shifting, I think it's just a little bit more simple, plug and play.
And I've noticed the tactile feel, there's a solid click. With the previous, you didn't have that. So it's more like a traditional shifter. If you like that click or you want to hear it, it gives you that feedback.
It's definitely a little bit more of, positive mechanism.
Yeah. All right, so let's chat about the T-type cassette.
Yeah, the cassette to me is where the super light SL namesake rings true the most. I mean, this thing feels insanely light to me. They're sticking with a 52-tooth cassette, but what looks different on this one about this gear in particular?
This one?
This gear.
This gear. So there's pinned. It's pinned on there.
Yeah, and what I noticed right away compared to the old cassette is this gap between gears 1 and 2 is much tighter, which I think is definitely going to be where you get some of the smoother shifting from.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been hesitant to jump to the 52 previously because of that huge gap, and now that it's a smooth transition, I'm all for it.
Looks pretty sweet.
The gears here, so we're going to be aluminum 1, 2, and 3, and then the rest are hardened steel.
That's right, yes. And then these 3 aluminum ones are also bolted together, just another weight-saving measure.
And it is, of course, still XT free hub body.
Yep.
That is here to stay, and they kept the 10 as the small, so 10 to 52.
I'm really excited about this. It's just lighter and it seems a little bit optimized.
All right, so that jumps us into the Crankset, which is also super light, the SL. This is going to be the lightest option. No power meter on this one, but you can get it in a power meter.
That's all right.
We'll have that option available. So the main differences here, really it's the wide. So dub wide axle spacing and then the 55 millimeter chain line.
Yep, that's right.
That's pretty much going to be it for the Crankset. Of course, chainring's redesigned, but you can run a T-type chainring on the previous Eagle axis.
That's right. And what's the main reason you'd want to do that?
For me, I think it'd be if you wanted to jump to the new power meter, but you have the older Eagle axis, you can still do that.
Yeah, you can just upgrade to that new power meter, but keep all your other parts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But nothing else will be cross-compatible. Speaking of compatibility, the pod shifter, it's compatible with any 2-button SRAM axis shifter. So if you want to run the new one on your older Eagle axis, it sounds like you can do that.
Yeah, I think it's a nice option. It's a little bit more low profile like we talked about, and yeah, you can totally just upgrade to it, easy peasy.
And right here we have the T-type chain. It'll only be used with T-type transmission. As you can see, flat top, which is really sleek. It's just like the Road, but it is not the same as the Road chain. They are not compatible. But speaking of that, if you want to run a gravel bike with this derailleur, you will want to run that chain. And you can do it with a Road 12-speed chainring. I know it's confusing. If you have more questions on that, please reach out to our gearheads. They'll be happy to walk you through it. There's a lot of new things going on here, but we're stoked about all the changes that they've made. Yeah,
and to touch on that gravel thing again, as long as your gravel bike is UDH compatible, you can run the new Axis transmission derailleur with the rest of your Road components, it sounds like. So it's a pretty sweet feature from SRAM.
The main thing to remember, if you have a UDH derailleur hanger, you can run the transmission rear derailleur.
Yes, so that is the key compatibility note for sure.
Yeah. All right, so that was XX-SL. It is definitely a drivetrain for the hardcore XC racer and gravel racer if you want to pair these two with your road setup. But what if I'm not those people and I want all these new features?
Totally, yeah. So there's 2 other transmission group sets. You're going to have the XX and then the XO. These essentially just use slightly heavier materials to cut that cost down for different riders' needs. But you still get all the same features. They're still direct mount. They're still going to have that brand new refined shifting feel.
Yeah, so really not a big change as far as the lineup goes. They still have the top tier for the racer, and then it has the trickle down technology for us more average folks.
Exactly. So I already have Axis. Should I invest in upgrading to transmission?
I think that's a question that everyone's going to be asking, and I think the answer is yes. But I would love to see myself. So should I put this drivetrain on my Yeti here? I currently have the old XX1, and I'm very curious about how this
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I think people want to see a long-term test of this.
Totally.
Let us know in the comments if you want to see this drivetrain on this bike, and we'll let you know how it performs. All right, so derailleur hangers are dead. Is my drivetrain worthless now? Is the weight savings worth it?
I say that we find out.
Well, conveniently, I actually have a group set right here. We got the old XX1 Axis. It's not, it's current gen, but let's see if it's worth it.
Yeah, let's weigh some lightweight parts.
Let's get to it, but first things first, let us know in the comments which drivetrain you think is lighter and by how many grams. All right, XX1 Eagle, brand new chain, black coated,
Got the quick links on there too, it looks like.
Quick link is on there. 262 grams.
Okay, and now the XX SL.
265 grams.
You know, I was wondering that. The chain looks like it has so much extra material on there.
And it does, because the top
the
is
flat
flat.
tops, yeah. We'll see about the other components.
All right, and we got the 1052 XX1 Rainbow. That is 372 grams. Not bad.
Transmission. Yeah.
348
348.
grams.
So yeah, solid drop in weight.
Wow.
For the cassette.
Yeah.
That pretty much, negates any difference in the chain weight.
Oh, for sure.
1 point to transmission.
So 428 grams.
Nice.
Not bad.
New crankset, also crank boots on.
461 grams.
Okay, so a little bit heavier for the transmission there.
Yeah, interesting. I think most of your weight is going to be in the spindle.
Yeah, it's
And,
gotta be from the wider design. Yeah,
Confirm that. It's more material, more metal, so that makes sense.
that's where the weight comes from, yep.
All right, so let's do the derailleur with battery.
Yep, got the battery on this one.
Perfect. And one thing to note is they don't have the cage anymore.
Yeah,
Little battery protector. That one's tucked away nicely.
no cover necessary. I know a lot of people ran these without the covers and just threw a piece of tape on there.
Yeah, I don't have one on mine. We're gonna weigh it without the cover because most people that are XC racing are not gonna be running this. Ooh, 380 grams.
In the transmission, got a battery on here. 443 grams.
443, but you don't have a derailleur hanger.
But yeah, no hanger.
So if I had a hanger on here, who knows what that would be.
Okay, last one is the controller.
We got a controller here, and I got a, let's see, since that one has a bar mount, I will include the separate clamp. 81 grams.
All right, 81. Pod controller with mount, 47. Solid difference.
It's light.
Nothing to it. Even
Wow.
with the mount.
All right, so that's a lot of math there. We'll let the behind the scenes guy figure that one out, put the numbers here and here.
Yeah, some total weights maybe.
Yeah.
So the cassette on the transmission was quite a bit lighter.
Yeah. Then the derailleur on this side was a little bit lighter, but was it really?
Yeah, so that's the thing is with the new derailleur, you don't have a hanger, and so you got to factor that in when you're comparing the weights of the two.
Yeah, and ease of setup as well. So
Yeah.
as you see here, I mean, they're limit screws, B-tension screws, so you got to dial all that in.
Yeah, this is pretty much plug and play.
Yeah. And then of course you have the larger pulley wheels, so that's going to be some of the weight.
Yeah, right. You'd think that wouldn't make it lighter.
Then another notable thing was the crank arms. I think we determined already why that is. These were lighter, but the spindle is shorter.
Yeah, and I think what it comes down to with the similar weight between the two systems is that, I think this was the transmission system was revised more for function. The ease of setup, smoother shifting, lack of derailleur, more consistency in the shifting quality. I think that's really what SRAM is going for here, not necessarily just shaving grams.
For sure. And it's already been so reliable and dependable that I think they just improved upon that and they strengthened where they need to in order to have an even stronger and longer lasting drivetrain.
Yeah, I mean, the old Axis shifted so well.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see how this does. So let us know in the comments if you guys want to see a long-term test of the new SRAM transmission group set. And we can also compare the other two group sets, the XO and the XX.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know in the comments and we'll do it for you.
Totally. Be sure to reach out to a Gearhead if you guys have any questions about any of the new parts, if compatibility, upgrading to your new bike, whatever it may be.
Yep, how to set it up. We'll be knowledgeable in that as well.
Yeah, we'll get all that stuff for you guys. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you out there.
Woo!